Welcome to the first episode of Realtor Tips and Tricks from me, Mike Danielson, Realtor. I'm a real estate agent in the DFW area. Just thought I'd start coming up with a series of videos to help out newer agents and maybe even more experienced agents that may not know certain things. This first episode is about open houses. The first step in a good open house is signage, getting people to your open house. The first place I'll start putting out my signs is at any main road where there's a turn to enter the neighborhood. At this particular one, you'll turn right, so I'll put about 3 or 4 signs about 10 feet apart, just right there at that turn so people can see as they're coming up to the road. They don't have to swerve over real fast to turn if they wanted to. Proper signage getting people directly to the house is, without a doubt, one of the most important things in an open house. Putting signs at all the entrances, also very important. I usually hit a lot of straightaways, put straight arrows out, probably about every 50 to 80 feet, just depending on how many turns and stuff there are. Just want people to be able to see where the house is at. Something else really important, mainly for your safety, is to make sure you get off the main road when you can. Park down a side road, put your hazards on. I normally leave the back hatch on my Tahoe open so I can grab the signs easily and put them in their spot and move on down to the next one. As you use the signs more often, you'll discover that the stands they go in bend really easily. When you push them in with your foot, they get really hard to put in sometimes. You just have to maintain them and rebend them into place a lot of times. Another good idea that'll make your life real easy is to bring a big bottle of water with you, because the ground in Texas gets dry a lot of time. The soil's real hard to push the signs in. If you bring some water along, you can just put it on the grass and it makes it a lot easier to put the signs in. After I place all my signs, I like to take a little cruise around the neighborhood, make sure that I myself can see how to get to the house from just the signs. If I can't find it, I know they definitely won't be able to. Step 1, signage is all done now, and now I arrive at the house. I normally like to get to the house about 30 minutes beforehand. 45 minutes would be ideal. Gives you enough time to set up. First thing you got to do, which is the most time consuming, is putting together your flag. You always want to have a flag out there that'll direct people to the house after they followed all your signs, and it takes a minute to put them together. The main thing about a flag is make sure that you are ready to start the open house when you put the flag out, because people will start coming in. The final touch on the outside is I take out my for sale rider and put in my open house rider on my sign. I'm usually the listing agent on almost all of the open houses I personally do, so I have riders made for that. If you're doing the open house for another agent, just ask them if they have a rider and if they want you to change it. The next very important part of an open house is having access to your Supra key. Make sure you have that paid and you have access to it, or you can't open the door to have an open house. And we're in. And now it's time to get the inside of the home ready for the open house. I personally always put the key back in the Supra lockbox just to make sure that the key doesn't get lost. Then I bring all the stuff in that I'm getting ready for the open house, snacks, waters. I've got all my documents and papers. I'll usually design a open house flyer with all the key information along with the MLS sheets, and I'll put those together. I also print out all the transaction documents on MLS and put them in a binder. And then I always bring really good snacks, either cookies or something that's just not messy. There's a QR code sign-in for me. There's a sign-in sheet, which is very important, so you can keep track of the people that come into the home. Then you have your binder right there with all the transaction docs, snacks, and waters. Cookies and snacks and signs are all really important to an open house, but the most important ingredient in a good open house is knowing the house that you're showing the open house in. I personally, when I did open houses for other agents, I always knew every single thing I could about that house. I would ask the agent, what are some key features about this house I need to know? What are some issues with the house I might need to know if questions arise? So it's always good just to know those things and just have a good open house. Help the house to get sold and get you some good leads out of it. If you need more help with this topic or any other one, give me a call, 972-880-4105.